It's time for another WrestlePlanet news update, as Nick Gage has lost the GCW World Championship after his AEW Dynamite appearance. The Young Bucks have reacted to the CM Punk Bryan Danielson to AEW rumors, and CM Punk joining AEW has forced them to change some plans. All that and more coming up in today's video, but first, GCW and Black Label Pro are set to co-promote an event called Free Cup Stuffed, and a certain TNA legend will be appearing on the show. Alex Shelley will return to the ring to defend his Black Label Pro Midwest Championship against Tom Lawler, a title he's held since October 3rd where he defeated Kylie Ray. Shelley hasn't been seen in wrestling since he removed himself from the Impact Hard to Kill main event, where he was set to team with Motor City Machine Gun's partner Chris Sabin as well as Moose to take on Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers. His reasoning for pulling out was more than reasonable, as he wanted to focus on his job as a physical therapy clinician during the midst of the pandemic. It's unclear if he's coming back to wrestling or simply appearing as a one-off to drop his title. This week, AEW confirmed the signing of NWA's Thunder Rosa after an agreement was made to pay off her previous contract. AEW have continued to build on their women's division, as Emi Sakura, who has appeared in AEW sporadically in the past, has announced that she has now moved to America to work for AEW full-time. Sakura revealed on Twitter that she has decided to go to America with a one-way ticket. AEW's latest signing also had a warning for AEW Women's World Champion Britt Baker, stating that she better be ready. Her most notable match in AEW so far was in November 2019, where she lost in an AEW Women's World title match during Riho's reign with the belt. Sakura is a veteran of the Joshi scene, having trained both Riho and Hikaru Shida in the past. She now brings her experience to AEW full-time and is a solid addition to the roster. Earlier today, New Japan Pro Wrestling held the Wrestle Grand Slam event live from the Tokyo Dome. The main event was originally planned to be Kota Ibushi challenging for Shingo Takagi's IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, but under unfortunate circumstances, Ibushi had to be pulled from the show due to his recent aspiration pneumonia diagnosis. The promotion decided that there would still be an IWGP World title match to close the show, and drafted in the ace Hiroshi Tanahashi as his replacement. In the end, the champion Takagi was able to retain his belt. This is Shingo's first defense after winning the vacant title on June 7th after defeating Kazuchika Okada at Dominion. Elsewhere on the show, there was two title changes, as Robbie Eagles defeated IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion El Desperado to start his first reign with the belt, and he will now defend his championship against Hiromu Takahashi, who revealed on the show that he's been cleared to wrestle following a torn left pectoral muscle that he sustained back in February. As well as this, Dangerous Tekkers, which is the team of Taishi and Zack Sabre Jr., began their second reign as IWGP Tag Team Champions after beating LIJ's Tetsuya Naito and Sanada. Malakai Black recently appeared on the Wrestling Perspective podcast to discuss his move from WWE to AEW, where he debuted just over 3 weeks ago. Black revealed that he's been picking the brain of a certain WWE Hall of Famer and wrestling legend behind the scenes, that being Jake the Snake Roberts. Black said, "Right now, one of the things I've been doing is I've been talking to Jake the Snake Roberts, about like his promo work and stuff. I just want to get inside his head. I want him to talk, right? 21 years in or not, that's Jake the Snake Roberts. You'd have to be an idiot not to talk to him about that stuff. That's what it's all about. And I think that a lot of the old timers, they have so much valuable information. They have such a great perspective on wrestling, and they have so many things to tell you." He went on to say that he's fortunate to have landed in a company where there's legends such as Jake ready and available to help him, and in my opinion, there's no better fit to help improve Black's dark and eerie character than Jake the Snake. Jake is known for being one of the best promos and wrestling storytellers of all time, drawing your attention in with his quiet but sadistic promos and using no wasted motion in the ring. Jake is the perfect mentor for somebody like Malakai, as in the past, The Undertaker has given huge credit to Roberts after he helped him develop the mannerisms of his character. Roberts can no doubt help Black take things to another level. Last night, GCW held the first night of their Homecoming event, which was headlined by a death match between GCW World Champion Nick Gage and the challenger Matt Cardona, formerly known as Zack Ryder in WWE. This was Cardona's first death match, with Gage taking control for most of the bout, leaving his opponent a bloody mess. However, during the match, Chris Jericho's entrance music Judas played over the speaker system, which turned out to be a ruse. Gage is set to face Jericho next week on AEW Dynamite, but instead of Jericho, Ricky Shane Page's faction 440 ran in to attack Gage before Ricky himself came out to the champion's aid. Ricky then hit Gage with a low blow, allowing Cardona to hit the radio silence for the 1-2-3. This led to major heat on Cardona as boos erupted around the arena before fans threw trash into the ring. Nick Gage is like a god to the GCW fanbase, and he's been pinned by an ex-WWE superstar in his backyard in a death match for the GCW World Championship, and as you can imagine, they're not very happy. In this modern era, it's almost impossible to draw legitimate heel heat, with crowds often just booing heels to play along, but in this case, the audience were furious, and personally I think it's great. Cardona's post-WWE run has been solid so far, and now it's time to embrace the new king of the deathmatch. Woo woo woo, you know it. And as for Gage, this loss makes me wonder whether he's leaving GCW after his recent AEW Dynamite debut, perhaps with him signing with the company full time. It's not clear if Gage dropping the title was the plan all along, but we'll keep you posted. Former multi-time WWE Women's Champion Bayley was recently interviewed by Alistair McGeorge for the Metro publication and revealed which wrestlers she'd like to work with once she steps back in the ring. Bayley is currently set to miss an estimated 9 months due to an injury she sustained in training. She didn't limit herself to WWE wrestlers, revealing she'd love to wrestle AEW's Serena Deeb. Bayley said, "I have so much respect and some history with Serena Deeb. I would love to be able to have a match with her one day. She helped me so much in my early career to get to Shimmer. That would be so awesome." She went on to say she wants to work with names such as Lita, who is of course currently inactive, Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, Kaylee Ray, and Maiko Satomura. The active competitors that she named all work in either NXT or NXT UK, meaning she may well have her eye on showing up for a match or two in those brands at some point in the future. Going back to Serena, Bayley may have to drop out of the WWE entirely to get that match, as last time WWE hired Serena, they used her as a coach rather than an on-screen talent. Now let's get to the first of two Bryan Danielson and CM Punk stories and the 1000th this week. And as we've discussed, reports state that both men have signed with All Elite Wrestling, with debuts set to happen in September later this year. AEW Tag Team Champions and AEW EVPs, the Young Bucks, have addressed the reports by changing their Twitter bio in typical Bucks fashion. The bio as of this recording reads, "Are the rumors true? I don't know. We just hope that they'll take our finish well." This is a clear reference to Punk and Bryan, with the Bucks playing the heels, expecting them both to do the job to them if they were to join up. This follows yesterday's story where fellow EVP and Elite member Kenny Omega let slip that it's going to be cool to be able to get in the ring with them. Well, possibly. And quickly, just before we continue, make sure you scroll down and drop a like and subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss any upcoming wrestling content as we head towards 20,000 subscribers. But now that you've done that, let's get on with the rest of the video. And finally, we noted on last night's news video that Cassidy Haynes of Bodyslam.net has confirmed Ringside News' report that CM Punk is 100% signed with AEW and is set to debut on one of the Chicago shows in September. We now have another update from Haynes, again from his appearance on the Jabronis podcast, where he discussed the current plans for both Punk and Bryan Danielson. It appears that plans for Bryan were in place first, but the signing of Punk has forced AEW to reformat their upcoming shows. Haynes said, "So they had plans in place for Bryan at Arthur Ashe, and then this Punk stuff happened, and it's kind of threw a wrench into how they wanted to present everything. Now they've got to reformat everything because of that, you know? Because it's how do you capitalize off this buzz, and what are they going to do exactly is what they're trying to figure out." Haynes went on to confirm when talks with Danielson began, and he revealed the two sides have been in talks for 2 or 3 weeks and said, Daniel Bryan started talking to them 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he was supposed to do Arthur Ashe, and as long as 2 days ago that was the plan, but they can always change that around. They can always change up when he's going to debut, but it's happening. It's 100% that he's guaranteed to be there in AEW. It'll be interesting to see if AEW decide to capitalize on the current hype train by debuting Bryan earlier, as the Grand Slam show in the Arthur Ashe Stadium isn't until September 22nd, which is still 8 weeks away. As for Punk, he is said to be showing up at one of the Chicago shows, with Dynamite being held there on September 1st, Rampage on September 3rd, and AEW All Out on September 5th. He's expected to debut at one of these shows, and the first of which isn't for another 5 weeks or so. But as always, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss any further updates regarding Bryan Danielson and CM Punk. And before you go, make sure you check out my 10 cancelled AEW plans video where I discuss CM Punk's history with AEW.